All right, welcome to Shoot Me Straight. Dave Fields, Eddie Gallagher. We're here today with Eric Hinman, not Chris. Eric.
Yes.
Took a few tries, but
Yeah.
I know.
got it.
I got it now. Third time's a charm.
Eric is entrepreneur, 5-time Ironman. He builds brands, social influencer. You probably don't like that title as much, but like I would call him mostly an ass kicker because we just did a workout with him that was probably nothing for you, but it whooped us.
Dave's gonna be hurt. Dave's gonna be hurting tomorrow.
Your legs are gonna
Have
be
fun
sore.
sitting down in the toilet in the morning.
It was awesome. And man, he came out here with his girlfriend and their dog, and they're adventure seekers, and I love his attitude and spirit. And I look forward to hearing the story. I don't even know very much about your story at all.
Thanks for having me, guys. This
Yeah,
has been
man.
great so far.
Oh, it's been
So
awesome.
fun. Yeah, lure me in with a workout. I'm here.
Hey, that's the best way to start it off. You know,
Great.
I appreciate you coming in here and doing the workout with us. You know, get the blood going and
Heck yeah.
get the brain working. So it's awesome. And yeah, the workout was great. It was perfect. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Beautiful town. I've never been here before.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem. Where you're staying at is probably one of the better spots. Like I think on the 30A, you'll see after you'll be able to find a lot of good places to go eat and chill. And then what are you taking off? What time are you taking off tomorrow?
Probably around noon.
Okay, yeah. So I'd go like explore in the morning. It's beautiful here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, your home is beautiful. Your setup is beautiful right there off the ocean and access to boating. Are they weeping willow trees? Are those the trees that have the vines hanging off of them?
Yeah, that's down in Grayton where he's at.
God,
yeah.
they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Sarah and I have spent some time in Savannah. We went on a ghost tour there.
Yeah.
Horse and carriage ghost tour. And they have those weeping willows, and they're so beautiful.
Yeah, we love Savannah. Yeah, my wife and I go up there at least once or twice a year, and that place is awesome. And it does that. Those weeping willows make it, sets the whole like ambiance of the place.
It does. Yeah, it's kind of a spooky.
How was that ghost tour?
It was fun. Savannah is built on a graveyard essentially. So, most of the buildings there are haunted. So, we learned so much. It was fun.
I want to go do it. Every time we go up there, I try to get Andrea to go, and she's not one for like haunted stuff or whatever. So I'll have to talk her into it this year.
Yeah, you guys would enjoy it. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So where'd you grow up in? I don't even know where you were originally.
Yeah, I grew up in a really small town, Pulaski, New York. I graduated with about 90 kids. It's on Lake Ontario. And I grew up boating, camping, snowmobiling. Snowmobiling was my favorite thing in the world growing up. My dad and I would go from our backyard about 120 miles to Old Forge in a day on the snowmobiles, all on snowmobile trails. I played football, I ran cross country, I ran track, I played basketball. So I grew up playing team sports and loved athletics and just always loved competing against myself and seeing how good I could get at shooting 3-pointers and how good I could get at ping pong and how fast I could get at the mile. But really small country upbringing. And then I went to college at SUNY Geneseo, a state school in Rochester, New York, for business management. My father was CEO of a small insurance company in upstate New York, and my mom was a school teacher. So I just grew up watching them lead and knew I always wanted to create my own destiny and lead in some way. So went to school for business management, got into weightlifting in college, but very vanity-based, bench press, bicep curls, just wanted to look good for the girls. At a
Curls for the girls.
Yeah, curls for the girls. 7-to-1 girl-to-guy ratio. That was the main reason why I picked Geneseo.
Nice.
And then after college, my first career was property and casualty insurance. So I was sitting a lot. I was driving 50,000 miles a year, going door to door, selling insurance to campgrounds and marinas in upstate New York. And I got pretty out of shape during that time period. I was working out maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but I was drinking heavily on the weekends. I thought that was what success was to make enough money to have some fancy suits and a fancy car and a nice watch and a pretty girlfriend, and then you party hard on the weekends.
Yeah, everybody's working for the weekend.
Exactly. I was working for the weekends, very much so. And I hired a personal trainer in my late 20s, I think 27, 28 years old. And through the personal trainer, started to get back into aesthetically decent looking shape and started running again and started biking recreationally. And through biking, I met some friends who were signed up for this half Ironman that was coming to Syracuse. So I asked them what a half Ironman was. I was more intrigued by their fancy bikes that had 4 handlebars on them. And they told me what a half Ironman was. And I'm like, you're going to run a half marathon after biking 56 miles and you guys do this in a day? I was just dumbfounded that that was possible. And they're like, yeah, we've been training for 10 months to do this and we're ready. And I'm like, damn, I'm intrigued. I couldn't believe that was possible. So I started doing these Wednesday night triathlons in Jamesville, New York. And, that really was what got me on the path that I'm on now of just living my life around all of these wellness-based activities. Because I really correlated how I felt physically, mentally, and emotionally with all of the exercise I was doing.
Yeah. Did you get to a place when you were out of shape and you were going around selling policies? Did you get to a place of like a dark place where you're just like, man, I'm not happy anymore? I'm not like, what caused you to get the personal trainer in and get back at it?
It was more aesthetics. I had a gut. I weighed 205 pounds. And, if I was flexing in the mirror, I had a little flab that went over my biceps. So it was more aesthetic during that time period. I did start feeling like I was kind of going through the motions. I felt like my mind was wandering oftentimes with all of these different boards I was on and these clubs I had signed up for. I just didn't really feel like I was thriving or that I was with like my people. And through the personal trainer and then meeting all of these, people that were, running for fun and biking for fun. I was like, you guys do this for fun? I mean, I thought exercise was to look a certain way. I never really had associated it with fun, or it was for performance, to like play better basketball or to run faster. I didn't know the correlation between, oh, wow, I have more energy, I have mental clarity, I have emotional well-being. I didn't understand any of that. And it was really that's set me off on like, I want to continue progressing in wellness to just see how good I can possibly feel.
Nice. So you started off with half Ironmans, right?
I started off with a sprint triathlon. I started off not being able to swim at all. I had I swam in Lake Ontario growing up, but not with my head in the water. It was basically dog paddling.
Yeah.
So I signed up for a gym membership at Gold's Gym that had a pool, and over about a 6-week period, I could swim 400 meters at one time with my head in the water, breathing properly.
Nice.
And then a sprint distance triathlon turned into an Olympic distance triathlon, and after that, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do something further, but I was intrigued, so I signed up for a half Ironman. And the first half Ironman was Cambridge, Maryland, so hot, humid. It was in June. I think it was 92 degrees that day. And at the end of the race, I had to stand under a fire hose for about 30 minutes to cool off. And I'm like, I'm never doing that again. And about an hour later, I told my girlfriend at the time, I think I'm going to do a full Ironman now. It's so addicting.
You got the sickness. Doing endurance stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's, once you do it, you become addicted to the process, and you just want to see what you're capable of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's those endorphins that you get from pushing yourself that far. I mean, for me at least, and then I find like when you're doing like, I haven't done a Ironman, but I've done like long distance endurance events, and like while you're doing it, you're like, dude, okay, some parts you're feeling good, some parts you're like, this sucks, like. But when you finish it, the rush of endorphins that you get just from like that personal satisfaction of that goal, you definitely like, it's like, let's do this again. I want that feeling again.
Can't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's overcoming this massive obstacle that you had to backtrack your way into succeeding. And I am obsessed with progress. I've always been obsessed with progress. And, these sports like triathlon and endurance running, they're based around progress and just incremental improvement every single day. And, once you do that for 5 years, it's just incredible how that stacks and what you can accomplish based on how you backtracked your way into it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, because it has all the elements that it takes to have like for me, like a stable mental well-being, right? So you put in the hard work beforehand, then you get to put that hard work into action, then you succeed through that, and then you sort of can take a step back and be like, dude, the reason I was able to accomplish this is because I put all the focus and energy into achieving this, and you're like, I can do this again, or I can do more, right? And that's, I think we were talking earlier about that, like how you didn't even know how to swim, right? And it just took you like, I'm going to go do this. And you started off probably like a lap, and then progressed into 2 laps, into 3 laps. And then before you know it, you're swimming miles, right? And that's what I try and like, it's hard to tell people, you know, because I think people are daunted by some of those tasks, and they're like, and I want to get into shape, or I want to do this, but that, you know, I don't know if I can do it. And it's like, yes, anybody can do it. It's like your body was made to be able to do these things, believe it or not. You just have to go do it, right? And that's the first step.
Yep. Yeah, and it's staying in your lane long enough that you succeed at it. And we have so many distractions in life. We have so many options in life. You can choose a million different lanes throughout life, but if you want to be really good at something, you have to stay in that lane for long enough to get really good at it.
Yeah, that's right. Become a master of your craft.
You think most people just don't stay in long enough, like that just aren't consistent enough to see, like if they just stayed a little bit longer, they were just consistent a little bit longer, they would have hit that next level, or they get that more momentum?
I do think that. And again, I think it's just our modern world. There's so many options. You have so many different lanes that you can go in. We have social media where you can see all these other people doing all these things. And, you know, it's like the flashy syndrome, flashy object syndrome, where you're like, oh, I want to try that now. I want to try that now. And you don't do the one thing, because it really just comes down to like being really unremarkable day in and day out until all of a sudden you're really remarkable at something. But it's just the consistency. That's what I learned from Ironman, and you can apply that to so many other things in life. You can apply it to building a business. You can apply that to being a great dad. You can apply it to everything. It really is just like focusing on that one thing long enough that you get to where you want to go.
Yeah. And that consistency, and, you know, you do it long enough, it becomes discipline, right? To where
autopilot.
Exactly. Now you can't go a day without doing it.
Yep.
It's like, I have to do this. And even on the days I find myself, you know, I get up and I'm like, dude, I don't feel good, or, you know, something might be bothering me. I still make it's autopilot. Like, I don't think about it. I just get out there and do it. Right. And I think that's the beauty of being consistent, because then it just becomes the norm. Right.
Exactly.
And you're like, this is what I do.
Yep. And then how can you apply that to other areas of your life where, you know, if you want to build a $100 million business, how can you do everything each day to align with building that business? If you want to be the best dad in the world, how can you do everything to align with being the best dad in the world? So you can apply this to other pieces in life.
Yes.
And, you know, you put tunnel vision on for these things that you want to be really good at, that bring you fulfillment and allow you to have purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. If there are things that are making your life better, you know, in some form or fashion, I'll example, like reading the Bible, right? I now read my Bible every morning, talk to God every morning. I had the hardest time for years. You know, it's like, I want to do it, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it every morning. I'd be like, and like you call them options, I call them distractions. Same thing. Like, I'd always find something, I'll do it later. Right. But now that I've been doing it consistently now for about 2 years, I can't go a day without it. Like, it just becomes part of who I am, because I know my day will not be as good if I skip it, right? And it's the same with working out. And like you said, it's the same with anything else you apply in your life. Like you said, you want to be a better parent. Well, there's probably things you can do to apply to be a better parent each day, but you just have to start with one thing and do that daily. And then it becomes discipline after that, right?
Yeah, habitual. I think they say it takes about 60 days to form a new habit. So oftentimes what I'll do is I'll just put like yoga. Yoga was really difficult for me to embrace. For years, I was like, I'm not doing yoga. It's too slow for me. I don't need it. And then I put a calendar appointment every single day in my calendar at 4:30 p.m. to do yoga for 60 days. Guess what happened? I went 2 years doing yoga because I committed to it for 60 days. It was in my calendar. It was time blocked off, and I'm going to do it. And then I didn't have to think about it anymore. It's just like, that's what I do at 4:30. I do yoga. And it's the same with contrast therapy now. I do that every single day at 5 p.m. But for a while, I didn't want to go in that cold water every single night.
Yeah.
But you do it long enough, you become addicted to it because you know how good you feel afterwards.
Yes, you can't go without it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And these are things that make so many other things better for you in life. You know, you have more energy, you have more mental clarity, you have better emotional well-being. When, you know, life hits you with something that's uncontrollable, you have more stress resilience from doing these things.
Exactly. And that's what I try and like impart that on, you know, not just like my kids, but other people. I think people have this this refrain from wanting to suffer, right? And to me, I'm like, you have to suffer in order to achieve something great, in order to feel good. That's the way I play, like the ice bath, right? Yeah, it sucks, but guess what? You feel 1,000 times better afterwards. But that is like the perfect example of what life is. It's like, yeah, if you want to achieve something great, you have to suffer for it. And anything that comes easy, it's really like, then what? It's not worth it. What are you attaining? It just, if stuff's given to you, it's like if Dave, gave me a shirt, and was like, here, okay, great. But did I earn that shirt? Did I do something to earn that? It's a lot better if I like had done something to earn it. He'd be like, hey, dude, you don't do this for most people, but here, like, you earn this. Then it feels like, okay, you somehow suffered through it, or you worked hard towards that. And like, that's what I think that's what I think stops people from doing these things. And they're sort of scared of suffering,
You keep working hard enough, Eddie, you'll earn that shirt.
That's what I'm trying.
That's right.
Well, I've been doing the podcast for a year and still haven't earned one. So
yeah, I earned my steak tonight. I can't wait to have that after this hard workout we did.
Yeah. Well, do you think people, I think of like normal people looking at you and they go 5-time Ironman, like that seems so far out of reach. Like even me, I think of this workout, which was probably a medium for you, maybe less. That was, I don't know how much more my legs would have gone, but like they would have given out pretty soon. And like thinking of doing 5 Ironmans, it seems so far down the road. Now I get, hey, you just put in the work day in, day out, right? Like I'm a lot closer than I would have been a year ago, right? But do you tell guys to chunk up that goal, or like someone that goes, man, I want what Eric had. I want to not just accomplish something like an Ironman, but I want to get really in shape, and I want to be able to push my body and see how far it gets. Do you have them break them down in goals and like?
For sure. The first thing is surround yourself with people that have gotten where you want to go. So now today we did that leg workout. You know what to do. You can do that going forward. And if I was here, we would do that, 3 times per week. And we do that for 3 months. All of a sudden, that's your new routine. Yeah. So that's the only way to fast track success is find people who've gotten where you want to go and, ask them to help you. But I broke it down over the years. So the first year for me of trying to get to the Ironman World Championships in Kona was hiring a coach who had gotten to the half Ironman World Championships and asking him to coach me. Yeah. And he was a guy who would beat me in on all of these local triathlons. And I'm like, how is he beating me? I look way fitter than him, but he's faster than me. And he gave me some great advice of you got to slow down to speed up. He taught me all about aerobic heart rate training, and that endurance sports are really about durability and having a big aerobic engine. And in order to put in the type of volume you need to be fast in an Ironman, you have to back off on pace. Like I was doing everything way too hard. I was coming in from this strength training and anaerobic conditioning background where I thought it had to hurt in order to get benefits from it. And he's like, your run shouldn't hurt. What you should be able to do is back that up day in and day out. You should be able to do that 6-mile run today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't want you just doing it Monday and then you're sore for 4 days, because you just want that compound volume, and that's going to build the durability necessary to run a fast marathon after biking 112 miles. So that was kind of my first block, was understanding that there's a difference between training and exercise, and he taught me that. And then once I dialed in the exercise, I started focusing on sleep. Sleep is the #1 recovery tool. So for a year, I literally dabbled with different sleep protocols before bed, different temperatures, different sleep supplements, wearing earplugs, wearing a sleep mask, figuring out when to cut off coffee consumption, avoiding highly stimulating environments late at night. I literally tinkered with all of these things so that I could get 8 hours of sleep every single night. And then the next year was diet. Tried high-fat diet, high-carb diet, high-protein diet, all these different diets. And then the next year was recovery, sauna, cold exposure, Normatec boots, red light therapy. So each year I really picked something that I focused on. And again, just to get the exercise on autopilot, great. Get the sleep on autopilot, great. Get the diet on autopilot, get the supplements on autopilot, get the recovery on autopilot. So it was built. I've been doing it for 15 years now. So each year was kind of a different thing I focused on.
Yeah. Wow. What out of all those things, like within that first year, we'll start with sleep. Within that first year with sleep, what did you really find was your routine, or like did you just research a bunch and then try it, and like, are you testing?
100%, yeah. Again, I was listening to people that I deemed to be thought leaders in the space. So, I mean, during that time period, I was tuning into people like Ben Greenfeld and different biohackers early in the biohacking world, Peter Attia, Andrew Huberman. And I would try different protocols and see how they work for me. The biggest thing with sleep is sticking to a similar sleep structure.
Yeah.
I mean, once you start going to bed like at all different times and waking up at all different times and traveling all over the place, that's when you screw up your circadian rhythm. So I really just kind of stuck to a similar sleep routine. That was the biggest one, and that's not rocket science. But, setting your temperature really cold. We sleep with our bedroom temperature around 65 degrees. I've worn a sleep mask and earplugs. Yeah, I know. Thank God my girlfriend lets me do that. Sleep mask and earplugs, game changer. Just being able to control the environment, especially traveling a lot. If you can't control the noise around you, you can't control the light coming in. I just got really used to wearing a sleep mask and earplugs so that I wear it every single night that I go to sleep, and it's comfortable for me now. And then the other big one, and a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but avoiding highly stimulating environments late at night. So I don't go to concerts often. I'm not out at bars. I'm not entertaining late at night. We're generally doing our contrast therapy routine. So going from a hot sauna into a cold plunge, 3 rounds of that around 5 p.m., and then cooking at home around 7 p.m., and then by 8:30, we're winding down, and we're in bed by 9:30. And I used to look forward to my nights back in the party days, but now my days are so epic. Like, I can't wait for 6 a.m. I can't wait for 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. And I want to make sure that I am super energized for that time block. So I don't really look forward to the late night concert because I know it's going to affect that 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day.
Yeah. So you've kept that pretty consistent. When you travel, is there some things that you change a little bit to keep that schedule?
So eating dinner goes out the window when we're traveling. I'm generally going out to restaurants, and I'm certainly going to indulge. I'm not perfect with diet. I'll have dessert when we're out at dinner. But the things I do continue to control are I make sure that I'm finding gyms nearby so I can get my morning workout in. That's time blocked every single day. I'm hitting a workout from 8:30 to 10:30. Like, I knew that we were working out today, but I still wanted to get my morning workout in. It's autopilot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hitting it. I'll look for nearby restaurants where I can get food that I enjoy. So, steaks and seafood, single ingredient foods. Again, not rocket science. We're just faced with so many options of so many indulging things. But I'll look for restaurants where I can get single ingredient foods. And then I'll try to book Airbnbs or even a hotel room that has a bathtub. So at the very least, I can take a hot Epsom salt bath at night to wind down and get some recovery in. But oftentimes I'll look and see if there's a sauna nearby or a cold plunge, a friend that has a cold plunge nearby where we're staying. Running, I generally always keep in my routine. I know that's the easiest form of exercise. So if I'm in a place where I can't find a gym, at least I can go out and I can get a 6-mile run in.
Yeah. Is there any supplements that you take for sleep?
I do. I take a supplement called Beam Dream. It has L-theanine, melatonin, magnesium, GABA, nano CBD. And I've taken that ever since they launched it 3 years ago. I love it.
Yeah, it works out best for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use I do the sleep mask as well, and then I have a white noise machine that I travel with. So I'm in a hotel, plug that in, put that on with the sleep mask, and try and pass out.
Yeah.
Is it something to do with, just in your, I do it also. Like, I would have little routines, everything from, even with coding, I would have like a routine of how, like, right before I'm about to go on, we called them sprints, but like right before I'm about to spend the next like 5 hours or whatever, like coding, I would go into kind of a routine of like how I sat at my desk and the computer and setting up I think of when you kind of make a ritual out of it, is it some to do with that? It's like when you put the white noise on, like, signals to your brain it's time to go to bed.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because I catch myself, like, if I 2 in the afternoon or something and I don't have anything going on, if I lay down, like, I'm just going to take a rest. If I put that white noise machine on, my body automatically is like, oh, it's time to sleep. Which, if I'm not trying to take a nap, I'm just trying to rest, I won't turn it on because it kicks my brain into like, all right, it's sleep time, and I'll feel myself start getting drowsy. just from hearing that noise.
Yeah, it's like a pre-workout beta alanine where you get the tingles from it. That's a cue to okay, it's time to go hard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's biohacking, like you mentioned earlier, where you're doing little things to create rituals around getting yourself to do something and getting in a habit.
100%. I mean, time blocking is huge for me, where my day is scheduled around time blocks, where it's workouts, cognitive sprint, meetings, podcasts, workout, time outside, in the sunlight, cognitive tasks, recovery, wind down, eat, sleep. Time blocking is the way to go if you have a busy schedule and you don't want to be distracted. I just kind of know like how my day is going to unfold every day and when I'm doing certain things throughout the day and when I can do them best. Like I know that I have the most energy and most mental clarity after my morning workout. So that's why I'm going to schedule the most important conversations that I have to have for the day. I know I have about 3 hours of cognitive power from that.
Yep.
And then I'm going to start fading a little bit. So then I go off into nature and mountain bike for an hour. And I know that's going to put me back into another good space where I can work for another 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
How do you handle, because I mean, obviously you're on Instagram and everything. How do you handle the social media aspect when it comes to, because obviously that can be a big distraction.
Mm-hmm. Huge distraction. Yeah. Again, time blocking. I'll have certain times where I'm answering messages, certain times where I'm creating content pretty much all day so that I know when I want to produce something, I have all of the content there. I just have to come up with a concept for it. But, yeah, generally answering messages is going to be time blocked during certain time periods. If I'm in the mountains, mountain biking, my phone's on airplane mode, in the gym, shooting stuff, but I'm not answering anything. I try to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
I don't do very well if I'm truly multitasking, but I do think of things as how can I multitask without multitasking? So like the sauna sessions, that also is human bonding time. That's where I take meetings. That's where I'm having great conversations with people. So I'm like, I can get a ton of bang for my buck doing that sauna session over, let's say, Normatec boots, where I'm just by myself with Normatec boots on. I'm not having conversations. I'm not getting any kind of mental or emotional benefits from it. It's like deadlifting instead of doing bicep curls. I'm going to get way more bang if I deadlift for 15 minutes than bicep curls for 15 minutes. So I do think about that with each thing I'm doing every day is how can I get the most bang for my buck with it?
Nice.
Yeah, and you default to relationships. I mean, from us talking earlier, I mean, you'll be doing exercise, doing something, but a lot of times you're doing it with other people and getting to know them, or relationships are one of the most important things for you.
Super important. Yeah. Relationships over transactions. First business was very transactional. It was selling insurance to people who were not my peer group. We didn't have a lot of similarities. And, I needed that. I mean, I needed to hustle. I think that chapter served me well in life doing that. But now I'm much more focused on, I want to be around people I enjoy being around. I want to be around people where I feel like I'm giving value and getting value. I love building community. I love when, people come over to our house in sauna and then I see a friendship blossom from that. I'm like, oh, wow, I cultivated that. That's so cool. Or a business comes from a sauna session that I hosted. So, and I just love being around people. I think that stems from being an only child, and I used to invite friends over to my backyard to play basketball every single night and play ping pong in my parents' basement. And, then in college I was throwing massive parties, and now I throw massive sauna parties and massive fitness parties.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you just invite random people over, or how, is that like out there where people can sign up to come over and do these sauna sessions and cold plunges, and do you vet these people first, or how does that work?
Yeah, great questions. So, most of my following on social media is from what I put out on social media. So the people that are following me are generally following me because they're interested in wellness, they're interested in fitness, they're interested in sauna and cold exposure. So yes, people DM me and I say, come on over to the house and sauna. There's not like a public forum where I say, go and book here. It's just based on people DMing me that are in whatever place I'm in. And very rarely do I have someone over that I didn't enjoy spending time with, which
has that happened though?
It's happened, but not often. It really doesn't happen often for how many like new people come over and sauna with us. We were just in Austin, Texas for the last 2 months, and we literally the day that we drove in, the owner of Sisu Sauna flew in, and we had a sauna delivered that day. We set it up at this Airbnb that we were renting as part of the agreement with the Airbnb, and every single night we had about 10 people over for 2 months. So that's 600 new people that I met in Austin coming over to sauna, and not one of them was a bad apple. Like every single person that came over in Austin I'm glad I met that person.
That's really cool.
Eddie, you've been like, nope, you're out. Get out of here.
Like, get out of my sauna.
But I reserve it for that time. Like generally my workouts in the mornings are with people I know, people that, I know can do the workouts that I'm doing, and we're pushing each other. And then I'm always making sure that I do at least an hour and a half of some kind of solitary thing. So that would be the mountain biking in the mountains or going for a trail run. So I make sure I build in solitary time. And then like that sauna time that is my intention with it. I want to meet people. I want to have conversations with new people. I want to form community around it. So if you go into it with that intention, then all of a sudden I think it's really fulfilling for everyone.
Yeah, you answered my next question, just because you go do that solitary time to sort of build up that bandwidth for you to have social interactions. Because I was thinking, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I could pull that off. Like my social bandwidth would be worn out after the third day, So, but that's a good concept. Like you go, you're like, hey, I'm going to have my alone time while doing some form of exercise, so you can build up that social bandwidth to be able to communicate with others, especially new people, right?
Yep.
Because that's like to me, that's like a major interaction, right? Because you're meeting somebody, especially you're having people over that you've never met before. So now you're like getting to know these people, but at the same time inviting them into your community and like, hey, this is what we're about.
Yep. And it's usually a mix. It's generally a mix of some friends and then some new people. And sometimes it's just friends over. So it's not always just new people.
Okay.
But yeah, I always find that my cup is full after that. It's not drained. I don't feel drained from it. Where there were other times where if I'm working out with a bunch of people and they haven't done CrossFit before and I'm coaching them through, and my main intention with my CrossFit session in the morning is like, I want to get my workout.
Yeah,
I want to
get yours.
I want to get stronger. Yeah. Exactly. So I started realizing that, and I'm like, okay, this isn't good for me, and this isn't good for the people that I want to truly meet and interact with. So I'm going to reserve this time just for the sauna time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was training somebody for the past year, and that's pretty much what I laid out to him right from the beginning. I was like, listen, because he came, he's like, I'd like to work out with you each morning, all right? Because he was like, I want to make myself better. But I told him, I was like, listen, dude, I'm not an instructor. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and coach you while we're doing these. I'm like, you can come do the workouts with me, but that is my time as well. Mm-hmm. And I will put these workouts on and we can do them together. But just know, like, I'm trying to get mine in too, because this is for my own mental health. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think that's because a couple times I found myself, having to coach him, and which I'll do. You don't want to see somebody hurt themselves or doing the wrong workout. But then I found when I was doing that, I was getting aggravated inside. Mm-hmm. Like, for sure, you're taking away from my time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a good concept. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's healthy. It's healthy to have. It's for your own self. Mm-hmm. You have times that you do coach or whatever, but you have to have time that you're doing it for you. Now in Austin, the place you're at in Austin, you've kind of turned this into like a wellness house, correct?
We did. So our house in Denver is called Muscle Mountain. We literally have a sign out back that lights up that says Muscle Mountain.
And you have a sign for it?
We have a sign for it. The backyard is a gym. It's fully turfed, 1,200 square feet. We have a CrossFit rig out there. We have assault bikes and rowers and ski ergs and medicine balls and sandbags, sauna, ice barrels. And, there we entertain all of the time, workouts, sauna sessions. And then Austin, we wanted to take this same concept and just pop up in Austin and see how it worked there. I love Colorado. Sarah loves the summer, spring, and fall in Colorado, but not so much the winter in Colorado since she's from Boca Raton, Florida, and has never experienced snow before, really. So we wanted to find a warmer weather place for the winter where we could both enjoy it. And Austin has just become this mecca for the intersection of wellness, consumer packaged goods brands, new media, content creators, running, biking. It's just a really cool place. So we had spent time there before. Sarah's always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed my time in Austin. So I said, why don't we kind of pop up a place like what we have in Denver and see if we enjoy that in Austin? So that's what we did. We reached out to some friends who knew property owners, and they connected us to an Airbnb owner who loved the idea of us coming in and bringing a sauna and ice barrels and telling them that we're going to entertain every night from 5 to 7 for people doing contrast therapy. And the last 2 months were spent there. We had a blast to the point where now we're going to build a place there, and we're going to set it up just like the place in Denver, where it's kind of a wellness social hub that doubles as our house.
It'd be like a membership service where,
No.
okay.
Yeah, just entertaining. I mean, so I work with a lot of brands. I invest in a lot of brands. I help early stage brands generate awareness and build community. So, that's the business side of it, is I'm helping build brands. And by exposing lots of people to these early stage brands, it's a huge win for them. Yeah. So I enjoy having people over, but it's also on the business side great to get products in front of early adopters' hands.
Sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's like a lot of reciprocity then happening with what you're doing, which is cool.
Do you only choose brands that you like truly believe in, or like do you vet the brands beforehand?
100%. So again, relationships over transactions. Like, I want to be truly fulfilled in these relationships. So I make sure I enjoy spending time with the founder. I make sure that it's a product and service that's easily going to be incorporated into my life, because I don't want it to feel like work. Before I was doing this, I literally was just playing all the time in Colorado. I was mountain biking every day and rock climbing and having a blast. And then brands started reaching out saying, hey, we'll pay you to post a picture. And I'm like, interesting. Okay, I can do that. And then I'm like, well, should I build a business around this? And that's what it's become. And like, I work with early stage companies because I know that's where I'm best. That's where I can add the most value, is getting them from, 100,000 in revenue to 10 million in revenue. I'm good at creating community for these early stage brands. I'm good at getting people excited. And I think I have a nose for the latest and greatest. A brand that is early, but they have a good founder. They are good at making people feel like they're a part of something with their brand. They're good at building community. They've identified the right third-party agencies to do growth marketing and meta advertising for them. So those are the brands that I'm partnering with. So I want to make sure, A, good friendship with the founder, B, they're early stage, C, I think my audience is going to be interested in what content I'm creating around it, and B, that my introductions and the people I've met along the way can help the founder of this company grow it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool.
You do what kind of brand? Ice barrels, like apparel, like.
Yeah, 10,000 I was with since they had their first pair of shorts with a white X on the back. And I mean, they've grown tremendously. That was 2015 or 16 when I first met Keith, the founder of 10,000. So it's been fun watching them grow and watching the community around them grow. Ice Barrel is growing really fast right now. Sisu Sauna is growing really fast right now. Cane shoes, active recovery shoes, which would be great for you guys in Florida. I got to get you some of them. Yeah. Flux footwear, which I was wearing in our training sesh and I'm wearing right now. And then a number of different supplement brands, Symbiotica, Organifi, Beam Dream that I had mentioned before. It runs the gamut, but they're all in the wellness space. Yeah. They're apparel brands, they're shoe brands, they're supplement brands, they're lifestyle brands, but the theme is they're all early stage in the wellness space.
Yeah. What's that Sitsu sauna? Is that one of those you can just build it like in your house, portable, or what? How do those work?
It's portable, but you wouldn't want to just transport it around all the time. Sauna tent is one that is pretty portable where you could bring it around. Sisu sauna is a barrel sauna. It is plug and play, so it's tongue and groove. With 3 guys, you can set it up in 2 to 3 hours. You do need an electrician to be able to plug it into a 240, but it's a Hume heater, 6 kilowatt heater, and then they have a 6-person and a 2-person barrel sauna, and they crank. I mean, when I first set mine up, I had been in saunas that had other heaters. I won't mention names, but they didn't get hot enough. They only got up to like 160, 170. So the hack was you either cover up the temperature sensor with something wet so it's not registering to shut off the heater, or you put the heater underneath the bench so that it's sensing the coolest air in the sauna down below. So when I first got my Sisu sauna, I did that. I put the temperature gauge underneath the bench and I set it to 230. I get in the sauna and I got right back out of the sauna. It must have been 270 degrees. It was so damn hot. Oh. So I put the temperature sensor eye level where you're supposed to have it, and now we run it at like 205, and it's a legit 205. It's very, very hot.
How long are you doing at 30?
I'll do 205, 20-ish minutes, and then I'll go into the ice barrel at like 40 to 45 degrees, depending on how much ice we got, what time of year it is, what the air temperature is, and I'll do 3 rounds of that. So 3 rounds, 20 minutes in the sauna, 3 to 5 minutes in the ice barrel.
Okay.
Well, help me understand for someone who, I've never done a cold plunge. I mean, I've gotten in a lake really cold, but if it, like going from hot to cold to hot to cold, is there like massive amounts of benefit from that? Is it like recovery from muscles? Is it mental clarity? Is it all the above?
All of the above for sure. So, think about when you are running, you're working your cardiovascular system. You're doing the same thing with the constriction and dilation of going from the hot to cold. So it's a workout for your circulatory system. That's why they have all these studies about all-cause mortality. I think 60% reduces all-cause mortality, and somewhere around the same for heart attacks. It's also for Alzheimer's. It's incredible. But yeah, it's physical recovery. I mean, I train 3 hours a day, and I rarely feel banged up, and I really put it on sleep, diet, and the recovery that I'm doing so that I don't feel sore every single day. Mental benefits are tremendous. I mean, for me, I'm very, very feeling based. So if I feel good doing something and there's no consequences to it, I'm going to keep doing it. There's lots of things where there's consequences to feeling good. With this, there's not consequences to it. So ultimately, that's why I'm doing it. But I've also noticed over the years, like the compound interest, someone cuts me off on the road, like I don't get mad anymore. I'm not stressed out really ever anymore. So I really feel like it's built up this tremendous stress resilience from doing it so often, where it now takes something monumental to get me mad or get me stressed out from it.
Yeah, and that's, I think, I don't have a sauna, but I have the cold plunge, and I've been doing that every day for a year now. And what I found is because I'll wake up, maybe with some like anxiety or like, I can feel it. And I get in there and it forces me to sit there and get into this breathing rhythm. Obviously when you're in, 39-degree water, you're like, okay, I got to like sit in here and I try and do like up to 5 minutes. I don't do anything more than that because I don't really think there's like a huge benefit to it, but I'm not like a scientist or anything. I just, from my past experiences. So, but that 5 minutes allows me to get in this like breathing rhythm where, like you said, I get out and I'm like completely calm, and the rest of my day I'm like, I feel good, but then just like, the day throws stuff at you, I might be feeling a little bit of anxiety at the end of the day, or I'll get right back in there and do it again. It's like a reset.
It is. It really is. Yeah, I like to think of it as, you could feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You have this massive to-do list. It just feels like it's stacked vertically on your head. And 3 minutes in cold water, all of a sudden it feels like that to-do list is just like right out in front of you and you can just tiptoe over it. Yeah, the mental side of it is why I continue doing it. The physical side is why I started doing it, because I wanted it for athletic performance, to feel better each day. But the reason I continue to do it is the mental side. I just feel so clear and so calm, and this, just emotionally really great.
Yeah. Like you can tell.
100%.
Yeah, so Dave, think about, when you go roll, right, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, and how you feel after, a half-hour session of rolling, right? You feel awesome because the only thing you've been focusing on for 30 minutes is not getting choked out or not getting tapped out, right? Everything else in the world doesn't matter at that minute or at that moment, right? You're like, if I focus on anything else, I'm going to get choked out or tapped out. It's the same premise with getting in that cold water, right? You get in there in the morning or whenever, it's, 39 degrees. Your body automatically goes into like, oh shit, like we're in survival mode now. It's your fight or flight kicks in. But all you have to focus on that 5 minutes is surviving that water. And the only way that you can survive it is getting your breathing down, calming yourself down, because it's not going to kill you. But you have to get your body used to like, hey, this isn't going to kill me. Calm down, breathe, breathe, breathe. And then by the time that 5 minutes is up, you're you get out and you're as calm as a cucumber. You're just like, I feel good, and you're reinvigorated. You know, I feel like dude, I feel awesome. I usually do my workouts right after that, right? But yeah, that's what it does for me, at least.
I think some of it too is practicing presence. You know, again, we live in this world where we're constantly distracted. So jiu-jitsu, like, you have to be completely present when you're doing it.
Yes.
Cold exposure, you're pretty present when you're doing it. Running along the ocean, you're pretty present when you're doing it. All of these things, I think there's a presence component as well that makes you feel good from it.
Yeah, it's like a form of meditation.
Does it release, like, on the science side of it, is it releasing things that normally wouldn't be released?
Yeah,
like
norepinephrine is skyrockets. We actually did a study with blokes at my place last year around norepinephrine and the increases. I mean, it was 300% release of that. So that's why you feel good. It'd be similar to exercise, how you feel.
Is it like a minor euphoric state?
Oh yeah,
for the,
especially if you do the contrast. If you do the hot, cold, because I've done that a couple times, and yeah, you leave feeling high. You're like, dude, it's weird, but it works, and I'm not intelligent enough to know what happens in the body or what happens in the brain, but I just know I'm like that. Like you said, this makes me feel good, and there's no bad benefits to it. You know.
What about sickness? Like, have you noticed like you don't get sick near as much by doing it?
I think I've been sick 3 times in the last 15 years. A lot of that is based on exercise, being in sunlight, diet, but recovery for sure. Being exposed to sauna, cold exposure. I don't have kids, so I don't have kids that are bringing things home. I've posted this before, and people have been like, you must not have kids.
You're around a ton of people.
I'm around a ton of people.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, the sauna and cold exposure for sure has had tremendous effects on building a robust immune system.
So you're saying taking care of yourself, getting sunlight, and staying active.
Rocket science, right?
Is
8 hours of sleep.
Healthy and will keep you from getting sick. All right.
Well, it's like when it isn't. I'm sure you've studied Wim Hof.
Sure.
Wim Hof. I mean, when he started doing all the cold stuff or whatever, he was like, I haven't been sick in years and years and years. And
Again,
like,
I mean, it's these are stressors that are good stressors that are helping you when a bad stressor comes along. So your body knows how to react to it.
Yeah, and probably depression a lot too. I think he started it with depression.
He did, yeah.
His wife, I think, committed suicide. I think, and then was studying. And then, I mean, he was like running in the ice, and I just remember the shirts. Just breathe, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to be in a good mood as often as possible, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we build our life around a lot of these things that provide a good mood?
What's wild is like for things like depression and stuff like that, you would think like, hey, doing hot, cold exposure, working out, like those things should be the go-to, right?
Yeah,
Not
prescribed.
a pill.
Yeah.
You
Not
know?
a pill. Yeah. The hard thing though is when someone has depression, it's like almost impossible to get them to do something like that until they're maybe out of it, you know, and then you have to like talk to them, be like, hey, try this. But while they're in, because I can say this personally, I have depression, right? So I'll get every once in a while, which actually, you know, to that point, since I've got the cold plunge over the past year, I literally have not had a, whatever you call it, like a moment where I'm like, oh, here it comes, you know. It's kept it at bay, but that's because I'm regimented in the way that I do it, because I know that's probably 90% of why I do it, is to keep that away from me, you know?
Yeah, you've been a lot nicer since you got that cold plunge.
Yeah, don't push it.
Yeah, that's awesome. To me, it's like a no-brainer, right? Like I'm gonna start. But like if you haven't got sick in 15 years since you've started, or 3 times in 15 years, and like all the benefits, like where's the negatives in it? That's my thought. Like, is there things like if you do it too much, or I don't know, just some sort of negatives around it, or is it just natural how we should be living, and we just are so far off from living that way?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that. Again, I mean, we've created so many of these modern comforts that, you know, in an odd way, we have to pay to bring discomfort back into our life. But, you know, I mean, looking at it
crazy,
from an
right?
ancestral standpoint, I mean, these were things that we had to do to survive. We had to run and chase things. We had to eat single ingredient foods. We were exposed to heat, and we were exposed to cold. So, I mean, all of these things make sense why you would feel good and why you would thrive by doing them. I've been doing it for 6 years, 7 years now. I can only speak for myself, and I have had nothing but tremendous benefits from doing it. And again, where else can you get that type of benefit doing something for 3 minutes?
Yep.
Sitting in cold water for 3 minutes, and you get that benefit.
Yeah. Does it go down after a while? Like it starts to wear off its effect on you since you do it?
It wears off some, or you have to go a little colder or move around. So, I mean, there's ways to increase the stimuli. But, yeah, I've definitely noticed that it goes away if I'm just doing my typical session every night. But then if I'm in a wood-burning sauna, jumping into a lake that's frozen over, all of a sudden I'm going to get that same feeling that I got the very first time I did it. So it's like exercise, of course. You know, if you do an ultra marathon, then you're probably not going to get that same runner's high from just running 3 miles.
Yeah,
or, you know, if you'd, been lifting for 10 years, you're probably not going to get that same endorphin rush you got from, just doing 3 sets of back squat. You're going to have to do more. So, yes, I do think you have to do more. You have to go colder or hotter if you want to continue getting that same feeling. But, I still feel damn good every day doing pretty much the same thing day in and day out with it.
Yeah. Have you noticed any people that have come in and they were in bad shape or just weren't really living an active lifestyle or something like that, then begin to embrace it and got momentum, and you've personally seen their whole life completely change?
Oh, God, yes, so many, especially on the exercise front. I mean, for me, exercise was the top of the food pyramid. Once I got that dialed in, so many other things started to fall into place. So, I mean, if you have depression or something like that, then I think sauna and cold exposure is probably one of the best things that you can start with that doesn't require tremendous effort. Obviously, exercise is going to require some tremendous effort, and running is going to require some effort, and these things are great. But, yeah, so many people have transformed. And, again, it's just like starting. Starting is always the hardest part. It's not that end goal of doing the Ironman. It's like getting consistent of exercising 4 days a week for 30 to 45 minutes. Like that is going to bring so many amazing things into your life. And there's going to be these other positive habits that form from it. I mean, one of the things I always think about is like how one decision can affect so many others. So if I decide to go out and have a few drinks and that turns into 7 cocktails and then I eat pizza late at night, I only sleep 5 hours. The next morning I crave fried food and carbs. I don't have any kind of mental bandwidth to do anything. It like screws up 3 days of my life. So I don't want to do that anymore. Whereas that exercise is probably going to lead to better eating decisions, better sleep. I might, do recovery. I'll have a different friend group. Like that one decision affects so many other decisions down the road, and you compound that over 15 years and they're 2 radically different lives.
Yeah,
that's a good word.
So yeah, it's so true. I'm constantly like dealing with that, like back and forth, because I maintain a pretty healthy lifestyle, but then I'll get the itch every once in a while, like I'm gonna go out and party, or do something, and you pay for it. You're like, man, I don't know how much longer I can keep, not that I can keep, because I could probably keep doing it, but like, when's the, going to be a time like, all right, I'm done. Like, let's just keep this consistent, healthy lifestyle and see where I can get to,
But your lifestyle, like, haven't you, like, what you used to do in your 20s, right, isn't what you're doing
Oh,
now.
heck no. No, I'm pretty tame compared to how it used to be. Yeah. But I'm glad I am. It's not like something where I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't do it like I used to. I'm like, I'm glad I can't. But guess what I can do? I can sit there and work out every day, push myself every day because I try and eat healthy. I try and have healthy habits, and that's the goal, I think, especially at our age. I'm in my 40s. I think you are too, and same with you. Like you want to get longevity, and be able to keep. I wish I could keep this going when I'm 70. So. I think that's what we're trying to, battle right now.
And true fulfillment, just going back to I can't wait to have a steak tonight because I hit that hard workout.
Yeah.
I really enjoy fulfillment now instead of getting things the easy way.
Let me ask you about what kind of diet are you on?
So I build my calories throughout the day. Generally, the morning is pretty light. I'll just have coffee, supplements in the morning before hitting my morning workout. After that, one of 2 things. I'm either going to have a smoothie bowl, or I'm going to do eggs, fruit, and honey. After my afternoon workout, same thing. Either a smoothie bowl, or eggs, fruit, and honey. And then dinner is where I eat a lot, and I'll have dessert a couple times a week. But generally, a dinner is going to be a pound of meat, generally red meat, steaks, burgers, Grass-fed, typically, if we're cooking at home, it's always going to be grass-fed. I try to search out restaurants that are using grass-fed when we're traveling. Some kind of carb, potatoes, rice, and then some kind of veggie. And, we'll put spices on them and make it taste good. I look forward to it. I don't not look forward to what I'm eating every day. Like, I'm stoked for that smoothie bowl or eggs and fruit. I'm stoked for my dinner at night. And then I'll snack on some nut butter, honey before bed if I want a little snack.
Yeah, if you're feeling something,
But, pretty light throughout the day, just enough so I'm not hangry throughout the day. But for me, I find there's a direct correlation between food volume and mental clarity. If I have a big meal, then I just feel lethargic, like I don't want to be productive, I don't have a ton of energy. And if I keep it light throughout the day, I have way more mental clarity and way more energy. I don't really snack that much. I might bring a bar with me or like a Chomp's meat stick on my mountain bike ride in the afternoon, but it's mainly just 3 whole meals each day.
Yeah, so you try and limit yourself from getting like puppy tummy through the day where you have a big meal and all the blood drains down to digest, and that's why you don't have any mental clarity.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
puppy tummy.
Would you call it? Yeah, that's what we used to call it. I remember going through a bunch of schools when I was in the military, and they'd let you go off for lunch, and you have to come back and sit in a classroom, and the guys that would just especially guys that were bodybuilding or like trying to get jacked, they were like eating all this food at lunch, and then it's like, dude, we're coming back to sit in a class, and then they can't, you can't pay attention because all the blood is like, oh, now we have to digest all this food, and your cognitive skills are lacking, So, yeah, I try and practice the same thing. It's like sort of like an intermittent fasting.
It is.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I try not to eat past 8 o'clock. I do sometimes, and then keep it light throughout the day.
You think it's somewhat important to cheat? Could you be too rigid? And especially guys that are not as far along. You've been doing it for 15 years and it's compound on it. But guys that are more towards the front end and beginning, to cheat some or to just not be too rigid, because then you get to play, just screw it all. Like, I'm just going to.
Yeah. I think you want to make sure that you enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it. But, it's like everything else. Once you put it on autopilot, that's really the key. So it's figuring out, hey, what are the foods that I can eat each day that allow me to have mental clarity and energy throughout the day. And then the evening, when I know I need less mental clarity because I'm just going to bed afterwards, that's when I'll indulge a bit more because I don't need to be as on. So that's generally where I'm cheating, but I'm very rarely cheating breakfast and lunch because I want to be super productive and energized throughout the day.
Do you take any neurotropics at all?
I do. I've tinkered with lots of different ones. So mainly I'm just having caffeine in the morning. And I work with a company called Caffeine Army. They have CoQ10 in it. Trying to think if there's any other nootropic ingredients in it. I think that's about it. Maybe L-theanine. So I took Alpha Brain back during the Ironman years for workouts, but I don't know if they've changed their formulation. I started grinding my teeth from that, so it was a little too intense.
I found the same thing. So I take Alpha Brain now, and I don't mind it. Like if I got to go instruct all day, or sometimes, if I got to do a podcast, right, I'm like, all right, because it keeps me focused. But there's something in it that it's like gives me sort of jitters a little bit. But I haven't tried their Black Label yet, which I heard they changed it so you don't get that little jittery feeling. But I'll have to try that out. But mainly, if I'm not taking that, I do the mushroom supplements like droppers, so like reishi, lion's mane. I have there's 5 of them.
They're great.
Each morning I'll drop them and just in my mouth.
Yeah, that's a good one that's sustainable. So if I'm doing Leadville, if I'm doing a CrossFit competition, if I'm doing high rocks, I'll push it a little bit more. I'll do methylene blue, a little nicotine, and caffeine. And I know that with that, I'm going to be really dropped in, but I'm also generally going harder than I typically would. So I know there's going to be a down from it. So I'm careful with how powerful the nootropic is on a regular basis. But if it's a competition or, a massive work sprint, then I'll overdo it knowing that I will pay for it a bit. But I'm not doing that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Again, because I want to feel pretty much the same day in and day out. I want to feel good every day.
Yeah, you don't want to have those highs and lows.
Exactly.
And nootropics are like brain clarity, focus.
Yeah, things that allow you to focus. Yeah, this methylene blue with a little nicotine combo is pretty crazy. And I'm not recommending nicotine. Obviously, there needs to be a lot of studies done on nicotine without tobacco to say whether it's safe or not. But this is a very low dose. I mean, I'm talking like 0.5 gram of nicotine mixed in with methylene blue. And yeah, the focus that you get from that is incredible. And it's not a massive down afterwards, but generally for me, I go so hard when I'm doing that I think more of the down is because I went so hard.
Because you pushed yourself.
Exactly. I pushed myself so hard. I did Leadville. Like, of course you're going to have a down from a 10-hour exercise day.
That's interesting. I've taken Alpha Brain before, and when I'd sleep, I'd have crazy dreams. Like some of those nootropics. Does that continue if you take it long term?
I'll sometimes have crazy dreams from L-theanine. That's one of the ingredients where you can have some pretty crazy dreams. GABA, you can have some pretty crazy dreams. But I generally only get those crazy dreams if I'm taking a sleep supplement that has those in it. I generally don't get it from, the nootropic in the morning. But those would be considered nootropics too, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing, man. I thought you had something. But no, I was going to ask something else, and I completely brain farted. I should have taken my Alpha Brain. No, man. I just want to say I appreciate you coming down, man. It's been, dude, fascinating conversation, dude. And you are like, it's you're someone to model yourself after for sure, dude. The way you live your life, the way you've got it seemed dialed in.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Always trying to hone.
Last thing I'd say before we wrap up is for listeners that look and go, hey, he's 5-time. Of course he's got all these things dialing. Like, that will never be me. Like, what would you? You're really good of taking like all these different areas and simplifying. Like, you've been really good. Like, even our workout was. There's some guys that make it so complicated and stuff, and you just simplify them very well. Like, how would you simplify it for them of them going, hey, I want to get better, I want to get healthier, or even if I just want to level up?
I mean, find someone who's gotten where you want to go, ask them for help, and then execute on a daily basis. That's the recipe.
Yeah. Awesome.
Simple as that.
Boom.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Out.